What's up, guys? New video for the new year. 2025, baby. Anyways, today we will be fixing my Arrma Mojave Grom. For those of you who don't know what Arrma is, it's an RC remote control car brand that make many different RC cars. Big, small, they are just getting into small cars, but this one's absolutely epic. Saying that, I did break it. Well, because I did install an aftermarket part, a rear diff locker, but today we will take this apart and see what's wrong. Let's go! As you can see, I have put this through the ringer. I mean, I've only had it for a couple weeks, but I mean, look at the state of that. I mean, through the ringer. And I will tell you guys, the more you upgrade stuff, the more it breaks. I know you hate to hear that, but some things are just meant to be run stock. Actually, most things. And this is one of them. I put a rear differential locker, and I mean, there's something already wrong with it, and so that's what we're gonna figure out today. Alright, so we're gonna start by taking these 4 screws on the bottom that hold the rear skid plate on. We're gonna take those off. Alright, so when the screws are caked with dirt, you want to take a sharp pick-like tool like this to kind of go in there and free up all that dirt from inside the hex. If you go in there and just try to take the screws that are caked with mud and dirt, if you try to take them out like that, you run the risk of stripping the head of the screw. Now that we took those 4 screws out, we're gonna flip it over and take these 2 out that hold the bumper to the differential housing. And then after that, we're gonna take the shocks off, and then 4 screws that hold the bulkhead on, and we'll have access to the differential. Actually, guys, the way it's looking, we don't even have to take the shocks off. All we need to do is take out the screws from the upper control arm on both sides, and take the bulkhead out, and I think we'll have access. Let's see. Alright guys, and there's the tiny little differential in there. We gotta do is pull it out and see what's wrong with it. Look at that. Tiny little thing. Oh guys, you know what happened? The screw just came loose. Look at that. Came loose, and the diff cup was spinning freely. So, if that's the only problem, we are fine. We are absolutely fine. But I'll wipe this off just to show you guys the aftermarket part. It's beautiful. It's truly a work of art, but guys, you gotta be careful what aftermarket parts you buy, and you gotta really put the thought into what's gonna help the durability of my vehicle. Because, I mean, it applies the same to real cars, too. Anyways, this Look at that. That is nice. It's a hot racing, rear diff locker for the Arrma Mojave Grom. But it is a work of art. But then again, this was not supposed to happen. Alright, so actually the diff cups are, this one is fine. This one, it doesn't clip in there anymore, which means that it broke off in there. So see, that's the problem with upgraded stuff. You have to keep on upgrading or else it's all gonna break. It's still all gonna break if you upgrade it all. Alright, so here is the open diff, and this is the locker. As you can see, one of the screws broke in there. I don't know how, I don't know why. These tiny screws are just so fragile, and it just broke. So we will be trying to put the open diff back in. Let's hope it works. This still actually might work. I mean, it doesn't have the little clip-ons anymore, but I mean, still fits in there and it turns, so I mean, I don't know how it's gonna resist to torque, but fingers crossed. Alright, so here I did it all wrong. I put the bearing in first, when really the screws should have gone in, because that bearing kind of holds the screws in place, and you can't get the screws in otherwise. Oh my gosh, now I'm gonna take it apart a third time, because I want to put grease in there. Some thick grease, so that it acts kind of like a locker. There is barely any room for grease. See if we can put a little bit. Ooh, look at that. Now we put the screws back in. Screws all in. Bearing. And then the diff cup. Take a little grease. And put it in there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put it all back together. Actual shaft goes in. Come on. Come on. In there. Alright. That goes. Man.
2,000 years later.
Alright, guys. We're done here. Look at that. And it's got the open diff in there now. This was the locker. I mean, it looks really nice. But I think what let it down were the plastic differential outputs. But then you always gotta think ahead. If I upgrade these outputs to aluminum or steel or whatever the outputs on these are when they're upgraded, what happens to those and the rest of the drivetrain when I upgrade them? My theory is that if coupled with this and metal outputs, I think the axles will break. So I think I'm just gonna stick to the open diff. But I do have some major plans for this car. Alright, let's go take it out for a rip. Alright, you guys are on the car. How's it looking? Alright, well guys, that just goes to show how on some things, even if you try to upgrade them and make them stronger, they just break. Sometimes keeping things the way they are, the way they were made, is the way they were meant to be used. In this case, my rear locker just made things worse. You saw that it worked perfectly in that. So, guys, keep that in mind. Don't go overkill even on your cars at home in your garages. This doesn't even apply to RC cars, really. It applies to everything. Keep this as a life lesson. Like and subscribe for more of this kind of video.